Here's why you should care about the Everton points deduction in the first place, and why it could also impact your Premier League club, right? And this isn't a video sniping at Man City and Chelsea. This is just a video about the general state of football right now and why the Everton situation can instruct us on where we are at, right? People know about what has happened with Everton. They went over the PSR, which is the profitability and sustainability rules that the Premier League implemented during COVID, and we're probably looking at before that as well, right? You can make £105 million worth of losses in that time. Everton made £124.5 million worth of losses in that time, going over by roughly 20%, maybe just a little, in fact, just a little bit less, but you get my point. And in that time, a lot of clubs ran very, very hot. Now, Everton were not the only club, and have not been the only club, to have financial question marks leveraged against them, right? Man City are being investigated right now. Chelsea are about to enter their own investigation. And, we can point loads of fingers. We can say, hey, you did something wrong. This was unfair on competition. Here's why it matters to you and I, right? Broadly, we can break down the finances of all these things, and lots of people have done really good jobs at that. The Athletic has got great articles on that. The Guardian has done good articles on that. Thogden even did a really good breakdown of it. There are lots of people who've broken that down. I think we're all on the same page at this point, right? Which is why I don't need to break much of that down. Everton got in this situation due to financial mismanagement, lack of player sales, COVID-19, geopolitical situations, poor ownership, poor investment, all these kind of things. But why should that implicate the fans? Why should the fans suffer because of that? Genuinely, that's a real question. I know that the fans would celebrate the upside if, say, they won the league or if they got into the Champions League or all these kind of things, but they don't get to make those decisions. And I get it, blind loyalty to an owner is something that maybe we've all had at some point. I found myself feeling FSG in some days. I found myself feeling FSG out some days. I found myself feeling angry at what is happening at Man City or what's happening at Manchester United or why certain clubs get investment and certain clubs don't. Why do certain people benefit from geopolitical situations and others don't? There are all these kind of questions. But again, why aren't the fans protected against that? Now, you can go back and say hey, well, London clubs are always going to be better investments because they're based in London. If you're going to invest in a team, you probably want to invest in Chelsea or Spurs or whatever it is. They can get more tourism. They can get all these kind of things. Liverpool was successful because Liverpool had all these benefits at that time. Loads of insurance companies were in that part of town. Loads of food was going through that part of the world. There's loads of, obviously, different issues which impact a club. And that's kind of what I'm saying here is clubs don't just grow out of nothing. There's a reason that some clubs are smaller and some clubs are bigger. Some people benefit, some people don't. We have to find a border to all of that stuff. But in the modern world of football, and I know why City are big, I know why Manchester United are big, there's two different reasons why Manchester United are big and Man City are big. There's two different reasons why Newcastle were big and Newcastle are big now. And so, in the current state of football, why are we not protecting ourselves as fans from the wider world? Because the assumption always seems to be, and this is what's interesting, money equals good. Investment equals good. And it's kind of a little bit of a trick that they've got us in on here. I want to go back to the Super League. Thogden also mentioned the Super League in his video, but for different reasons. What I noticed with the Super League was which billionaires are we going to back? The ones that back UEFA or the ones that back the clubs? The ones that back your team or the ones that back mine? And it's kind of similar here. We've kind of been hoodwinked into the idea that if you have good, rich owners, you will go in a good direction. Your club can only go up, right? But football would still exist without these rich people investing. Football would still exist if we didn't have a big stadium. I would still love Liverpool as a football club, as long as I could probably watch them, right? It's difficult for me to live in London with my family and all this kind of thing. And still watch them if I can't, I can't get the train up there every week. It's just not practical with two kids, you get what I'm saying? But and I'd probably end up supporting a local, but you get what I mean? Why? I support my local because Liverpool find family-wise and all these kind of things is my local, right? Historically it's my local. But you get my point. Why would people support a club that isn't theirs, if that makes sense? They have no emotional, family history there, any of these kind of things. Of course, you can pick a club, and like at some point you had to pick a club, but like broadly, the reason you have a club is because your family probably lived there. My granddad lived in Liverpool. My dad is from Liverpool. I was born in Liverpool. I have family ties to Liverpool, these kind of things. But now, in modern football, we're supporting something based on like a geographical idea, right? The point being, your ownership could impact you in any way at any time. FSG could go bust for Liverpool. The Saudis might decide they're no longer interested in football in 2030 something and just draw out of Newcastle. They won't because they like, I mean, the Saudis aren't invested in Newcastle in the first place. We both know this, but you get what I'm saying, right? So why hasn't the Premier League, why hasn't the FA protected us against these kind of things? Football would still exist whether these guys invest or not. I would still care about the guy that plays in red, weirdly, but I still would because I care about what my father cared about. It's not even an ego thing. You get what I'm saying, right? So again, why are the fans suffering because of this? And it draws me to my key question. Why is it that Everton as a club are suffering because of poor management and because of poor financial decisions, when actually the people who should be suffering and the people who gained or could have gained or would have gained or may still gain financially are really the people leveraging an entire history, all these kind of things? Why aren't they putting skin in the game? I get it, like, if Everton lose 10 points, the ownership lose 10 points, so, broadly, the assumption there is the owners care as much as Everton fans care. Like, do you get what I mean? And this is what I'm saying, like, the PSR is one thing, and I get it, like, we're kind of arguing about something where the horse is already bolted here, like, we are already so down the financial, like, finance is good for football route, therefore we must always back finance thing, that it doesn't make much sense. But it makes perfect sense in this current market. My point is, like, Bolton have lost out, Leicester have lost out, Burnley might end up losing out. Everton have a 10-point deduction. They probably will still stay in the Premier League because of the investment in that time that they are now benefiting from. Now, I get it. Like, there are Everton fans that are trying to find points to reflect well on Everton, and I kind of get that. But, like, don't protect the people who have driven you into this fire, even if you know those people are going to leave because you think 777 investments are going to buy something or whatever it is, right? But you get my point. Like, don't protect these owners because you care about the thing that they own right now. The owners should have some skin in the game. The owners should be the people who get fined. The owners should be the people who can be just ousted from a club whenever we want. The Premier League should be able to say, in a similar way to the way that the NBA did it, and I'm sure the NBA has plenty of bad owners and has had plenty of bad owners, right? But broadly, like, we should be protecting our clubs better than we are currently protecting our clubs. And saying, like, a 10-point deduction may not apply. Well, it will, and the reason the Premier League is applying this 10-point deduction is to protect its own interests, not necessarily to protect Everton's interests or the fan interests. They're protecting, obviously, all the other clubs in the Premier League, but you get my point here. Like, this is actually to protect the Premier League as an entity rather than Everton and its fans. And I get it, like, people go, well, you're a fan of Liverpool, they're in the Premier League, so your interests align. Yeah, but my interests align with Liverpool before the Premier League. Like, I would be interested in Liverpool if the Premier League exists or not. I might not have a job in this industry. Probably would. I'd probably be really successful. But, like, I'm joking. But, like, you get my point. Why do we care about the Premier League's interest? We should care about the club's interest, the fans' interest. The FA should be protecting us here. It shouldn't be, like, there are other clubs going to sue Everton, or I think the investment group in Everton. That should be what the Premier League is doing. The Premier League should be suing them, not Everton. The Premier League should be taking Everton out of these people's hands, taking it for a short time and then putting it into another ownership hands. They should be the ones floating it. Now, some people say that's franchising and really we don't want to do that in the first place, but there should be rules in place to protect all of these people, right? No? Am I wrong? I think I'm right, no? The point is, Everton are losing 10 points and they can appeal it and it can go to, like they might only lose 5 and they might still stay up. Broadly, you can see it's probably a good thing for Everton that they're losing the points this season. But that's kind of the point. Like, if they lost the points in a previous season, they'd have been relegated. Other clubs would stay up, and those clubs are now currently looking to sue Everton because they see this as cheating. But also, should we not protect our football clubs against COVID? Should we not protect our football clubs against pandemics, wars, all these kind of things? Everton are going to suffer. Maybe, just maybe, the Premier League are setting a precedent, and I think drawing comparisons between what's happening at City and what's happening at Everton is not worth it, right? Like, what's happening at Chelsea and what's happening at Everton are two different things. 115 charges, however many charges they'll leverage against City, however many charges they'll leverage against Chelsea, they're two different situations with their own merits and cons. But that's kind of my point here, is like, maybe they're setting a precedent for, well, Everton lost 10 points because of this. You're going to need to lose these points because you did this. That kind of makes sense, right? Like, as the Premier League, it doesn't make sense to go for the big boys who have the big lawyers first. It makes sense to go for the club who have made the most obvious mistakes and work your way up the ladder. You don't climb a ladder down. You don't... I mean, broadly, I think the Premier League is probably avoiding Man City and other people because, well, first of all, they know there's a much longer road to walk there, but also they know there are different kinds of lawyers. People have different kinds of leverage. Like, City are very well leveraged in the Premier League. There is a reason why they are leveraged well against UEFA as well. The point being, like, they have good lawyers, they have good investment. They kind of don't really care what happens in the Premier League because they're not doing this for finance. They're not doing this to make money or lose money. They're doing this for different reasons, for outside of finance. They want leverage. They want a brand. It's kind of an exercise for them, right? They can afford to make losses. And that's kind of my point here, is like, Everton made a lot of very good points in their counter arguments, which were like, why haven't it got us? We had all of these other things impact us. All of these other teams also had other things impact them, or Everton were not as cocooned away from some of those issues because their ownership just came from a different part of the world. Broadly, like, Everton sort of made the point, it shouldn't just be us having this issue, but the Premier League has to start somewhere. And this is precedent, right? But again, I get back to the point. Why would it be that it's just Everton fans that suffer here? It's kind of that thing of like, if they come for you, if they come for them, in the end they'll come for you. And that could happen here. I think that's why these owners, and a lot of the owners, wanted a Super League. It's something they can manage. And I think this ruling is a step closer to a Super League. The Premier League can't afford to annoy the big boys. But the big boys also know the Premier League can't afford to annoy them. And UEFA know they can't afford to annoy the big boys, but the big boys also know they can't afford to annoy them. This is leverage. It is making a bigger gap between the boys at the top and everyone else. And the Premier League may be reigning in Everton today, but I think they're doing it to rein in Chelsea, to rein in City, to rein in all of these things. Broadly, they know that this gravy train at some point will slow down, will stop, will crash potentially, or have other big issues when someone like City pull out, or someone, when owners go, well, I don't want to do this anymore, whatever it is, right? I just think that the horse has already bolted. The real question is, how do we fix it now? Part of it may be that over time we have to slowly acquire back a lot of these entities that are Premier League and in the Championship and all these kind of things, right? I get it, like, people want to make their money and go and sleep on a beach and have their family there. Broadly, I want to protect Everton fans and protect fans in general from the interests of the big boys who just want to make profit, want to build a big stadium. And I know, like, having a better stadium is a better experience. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's not as good an experience because the atmosphere is different. Sometimes it's not as good an experience because you want to stand where your granddad stood. You're being told, like, hey, this £10 burger or whatever's better for you. sometimes, like, it's not. And maybe that's why a Super League is a good thing. And I've just put it out there. If the Super League boys go off this way, which will annoy some fans, the money that can go into the other teams, the system that we be built around the other sides, can improve in the similar way to the way the college system in America improved, and we can keep that bubble of those teams protected from things like the Everton story happening, from things like the Bolton story happening, from things like multiple different ownerships impacting most things. Making things more local, it's not about foreigners or Englishmen or whatever it is. Making things more local, making it more relevant to the local population is a good way of going. I know people are going to say, well, Man City benefited the local area. They, massively improved this, and this. There is still poverty in those areas. There is still massive disparity between the rich and the poor. So don't tell me that these exercises, which will be good for some of the local people, are solely good. And the same for Everton. I get it, like a new stadium will probably benefit Liverpool. Everton being good will probably benefit Liverpool. Everton being relegated will not benefit Liverpool as a city. And that's kind of my point here, is like, why you should care? Because broadly, in the long run, if you want to maintain and keep the good atmospheres, what makes the Premier League special, you need to maintain the people and the fans in it. And they're not being heard right now. I hope this video makes sense. I hope that you understand some of the breakdown of this. Anyway, enjoy the weekend. Go watch Goldbridge's stream, and I'll chat to you again in a little while. Much love.